Guidance you have given us, allow us guidance to the path of righteousness. Amen.
Really, I'ma get that bitch. Revenge is a dish best served cold. She took my son, now my soul is cold. He took my daddy, now my soul is over.
Conservatism. You get what I'm saying? And this is what's driving the politics. So that's what we're talking about. They just played that clip where the guy said, "We are the Taliban. We are like the Christian Taliban." So they want it to be like Afghanistan, but Christian. Let me play some more of this.
Most Americans are naive, but I get it, what you're saying.
Tarrant County, known for conservative churches, wealthy white neighborhoods, and good schools. It's America's largest Republican urban community, and it helped elect Donald Trump. But in 2020, Joe Biden won here by a hair. This politically crucial corner of Texas has become a testing ground for how conservatives can maintain their grip. It's 6:30 in the morning. Like every parent, Lainey Hawes is rushing to get her children ready for the day. But in the past few months, she spent more and more of her time focused on schooling, fighting back against what she believes is growing conservative and Christian influence in the classroom.
When we first got here, everything was mild. School board meetings were boring. And then everything ramped up to this. And this is where we are now. And it's a fight, right? Our school board meetings have police officers at the meetings to escort people out who get too out of control.
School boards are ground zero of the culture wars taking place across the country. In Tarrant County, they're churning with disputes over what children are taught about sexuality, gender identity, the history of racism, and over what they should be allowed to read.
There's only two genders, and guess what? Teachers shouldn't be forced to use your freaking made-up fantasy pronouns. Fight like hell.
This evasive censorship is much more than politics. This is about lives. Queer youth are at a substantially higher rate for suicide compared to the national average for adolescents. Not having support from your home, your peers, and your school means adverse mental health effects and eventually suicide attempts.
Transforming low-profile elections into high-stakes political conflicts. And central to that is Christianity, but not through the pews.
Remember when America stood for things like honor, freedom, personal responsibility, and faith?
Enter a Texas cell phone company on a mission to protect conservative Christian values. Patriot Mobile spent nearly $500,000 supporting 11 candidates in 4 districts. All of them won.
We took over
11 seats on school boards, took over 4.
It's part of a new playbook by Republicans to take over politics from the ground up, backed by political operatives like former Trump advisor Steve Bannon.
One of the keys is these school boards, right? The school boards are the key that picks the lock. Talk to us about what you did in Tarrant County.
Since then, those school boards have begun to put new restrictions on books and gender identity issues. The owner of Patriot Mobile, Glenn Story, recruited longtime political operator Lee Wamsgans to help mobilize the company's Christian message.
As a mother and of school-age kids, it's really quite concerning. We have never, in a time in these cities that we were dealing with, had Christianity so attacked.
Attacked? What do you mean?
Oh, look at some of the public comments in school boards and people calling Christianity a terrible, racist, bigoted thing. And the reason we started with school boards is because that is the level of government that is most impacting the future of our country. What we were seeing is the leftist indoctrination instead of education.
So you feel you have a responsibility to bring God back into the schools in some way?
No question.
That's what you're doing?
No question. We need to have a little bit more of faith in schools in the sense of we have to remove what I feel is ungodly stuff out of the school.
So they said Christianity is being attacked in the schools.
Well, it has been for a long time. If we're going, because if we're just just talking about this subject, It has, and that's no matter there was never really any balance. Like since the '80s, like they constantly try to do different things that ripped up the original.
But Christianity's not supposed to be in the schools at all. At all.
Why?
Because what about the other religions? All the other people that go to the school are not Christians. Everybody that go to the school is supposed to be a Christian. So what do you do with the
Well,
Muslim kids? What do you do with the Buddhist kids?
but they're not. But they're not. But see, that's the thing. They're taking, the pretty much the soul of, righteousness. I would say out of the schools. Like if kids, because I hear what you're saying because I'm not really specific on any kind of religion, but when we're talking about taking, because I mean, if we're talking about the difference between God or godliness or shaitan, Satan, we've added more Satan into schools than and taken God out, and I think that's more of the
But
point
that's
of
not
what
what they're saying. They are saying Christianity specifically.
I know.
Christianity.
Well, see, but see, most people, that's how they look at their faith because they think that Christianity is God. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you know, and I know you understand it. Like, you know that most of these people, that's how they look at what God is. It is Christianity, but you
They're
know that
wrong.
okay, yes, they are wrong, but at the same time, they're right.
They're wrong. Period.
No,
Because
no, because you got to you got.
it's putting Christianity above anybody else's religion. That's what it's doing.
Well, okay. Now we
That's
can
alienating everyone else
okay.
or
I
forcing them to comply.
I hear what you're saying, but when it comes down to it, I mean that's what the other side is trying to do too. But they have perverted a lot of that, and they're trying to teach children who don't even know their mathematics properly, you know how to have sex or how to what to what I'm saying, pretty much trying to make them an adult too soon. Like that's what the difference right there. So that's where they use the terminology Christianity, but they mean the fact that look, because I mean, like if they didn't have any type of sect of religion, but they actually just use principle. Because I mean, to me, I like to just look at it as nature. You know what I'm saying? Giving people, kids a chance to understand nature.
But that's
You
not what
know,
they teaching them. They're teaching them
I,
Jesus. And at the
I
beginning of the public school system, they had to fight for that to be that way, and because that was the right way to do it, is to leave religion out of it and just teach the kids, their math and stuff. They don't, instead of forcing them to subscribe to a specific religion.
well, and I hear you. I mean, because I think that we're on the same, path as long as that goes. But we know that children need something to, like, in order for them to really learn righteousness, there has to be a path of it.
But that needs to
There
be
has
done
to
at
be
home, not in the school.
but okay, but
The
that's
parents teach your child about their spirituality, not the school.
well, okay, but see, but you don't feel the same way about sex. You feel like the teachers should be doing that, right? That's something that everybody can't teach their children, right?
That's not spirituality.
But it
Sex
doesn't.
is a
But
physical thing that you do to make babies. Like that's
I
biology.
I understand, but a lot of conservatives feel like that's something that a parent should have the right to teach their children at the right time for that child.
So
But in
you don't want
school,
the child to know about biology. You don't want
but
them to
also,
know.
so you don't want your children to know about God.
I
I
want
mean, you have to really
my child
balance it.
God. I don't
You have
want
to
the
you
school
have
to
to
teach
balance it.
I don't want the school to teach my child about God. I want
I don't
the
want the
school to
school to
teach them
teach my
about
child.
biology.
I understand, and you could teach them about biology, but it doesn't have to be about sex. we learned about biology without sex, and you know, and then that was something that came further on, because I mean there was life sciences that, I mean, there was different things that taught in a different way in past times. They know how to do it because it's been done before, but they want to totally strip away, you know, core principles that children should learn at an early age and teach them things that are outside of, you know, what a child should be doing anyway, unless, you know, I mean, you know, I know, like, I mean, like Balenciaga, they believe that youngsters should be, you know, children should be learning about sex or preparing themselves, because there's adults that's checking them out and ready to bring them into their form of life, you know, like, and I don't know if they even have a barrier on age. So
Dime qué tú quieres, papi. ¿Quieres que lo mueve para ti? Mueve, mueve. ¿Te gusta cuando me muevo así? Así.
let me play some more of this.